that Frank Woods had been seeing a lot of Helen, and several close friends had asked me if Jim knew the man's reputation. I had even spoken to Helen, only to be laughed at, and assured that it was just idle gossip of scandalmongers. That she should have left Jim, darling old Jim, for Frank Woods, or any other man, was unthinkable. Jim sank on the bench and turned a face to me that had grown utterly haggard. "It's true, Bupps. I found this on the table when I went home to lunch." He held out a crumpled note written in Helen's rather mannish backhand. "Jim, it is now 10:30. Frank is coming for me at 11. He has made me realize that loving him the way I do, I would be doing you a horrible injustice to keep up the wretched pretense of being your wife. Had you left any other way open I would have taken it, but you refused a divorce. I hate to hurt you the way I must, but try to understand and forgive me. Helen." I turned toward Jim. His chin was sunk in his hands. Two men came in from the tennis courts and nodded as they went by. "What have you done?" I asked. He raised his head, and on his face was written incalculable misery. "Nothing," he answered, dropping his hands hopelessly. "What can I do except let them go and get a divorce as soon as possible? It's my fault. After we quarreled the other night, she asked me to give her a divorce, and I refused. God, Bupps, if you only knew how much I love her and how hard I've tried to make her love me. And she did love me till Woods came along." I hurried up my dressing, turning over in my mind the details of Jim's married life. In the light of the latest developments, I realized the painful fact that I was partly to blame myself. Helen hadn't really loved Jim when she had married him. Oh, she loved him in the same way she'd loved lots of other men whom she'd been more or less engaged to at one time or another. She had married Jim because it had been the thing to do that year to get married, and she realized that Jim loved her more and could give her more than any of the others. Where I came in was that I had urged her to marry Jim, because he was the best man in the world, and because I wanted him for my brother-in-law. I remembered now how cold Helen had been even during their engagement, trumping up almost any excuse to keep from spending an evening alone with the man who was to be her husband. It made me so hot that I had reproached her even in Jim's presence. My words didn't seem to affect Helen any, but they did affect Jim a lot. He had taken me for a long ride in his car and filled me full of moonshine about how he was unworthy of her and how he would win her love after they were married. I was in such sympathy with him that I tried to believe it true, although I knew Helen as only a younger brother can know a sister. I knew that she had been pampered and petted ever since she was a child, that she had never shown much affection for father and mother, who were her slaves, while toward me, who had insulted her and made fun of her, she was almost effusive. With this in mind, I had urged Jim to neglect her, to treat her rough, but when a man is head over heels in love with a girl, what's the good of advice? To tell him to mistreat her was like telling a Mohammedan to spit in the face of the Prophet. They had been married a little over a year when Frank Woods came to Eastbrook on war business for the French government. He had been in Papa Joffre's army during the mêlée, wore the Croix de Guerre with several palms, and could hold a company of people enthralled with stories of his experiences. Whether he had a right to the decorations, or even to the uniform, no one was quite sure, but it set off every good point of his massive and well-built frame. He would stand in front of the fire and tell of air scraps in such a way that, while he never mentioned the hero by name, it was easy to guess that hero and Frank Woods were synonymous. He could dance, ride, play any game, and shoot better than the best of us, and when he sat at the piano and sang, every man looked at his wife or fiancée and wondered where the lightning was going to strike. For although he was a very proper